Hi, I'm Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub. Good afternoon. Today we're here to give you actually a great announcement about the TDI Catalytic Converter Corrupt Organization that we've dismantled. 11 individuals and 1 corporation have been charged for being members of the TDI Catalytic Converter Corrupt Organization. Essentially for stealing, selling, purchasing, and reselling catalytic converters for the precious metals that they contain inside them. The individuals charged with corrupt organizations, dealing in proceeds of unlawful activity, criminal conspiracy, theft of catalytic converters, which is its own unique charge, and RSP are listed as follows. Before that, let me let you know that their preliminary hearings are all at the moment listed on July the 5th in Bensalem at Magisterial District Judge Gallagher's. Some of those may be continued, and in fact 2 of them have already been waived, and I'll get into that in a sec. So the first person is the TDI Catalytic Converter kingpin, if you will. The corrupt organization was run by one Michael Williams. He is the owner of that establishment, the putative owner, the de facto owner, and he himself has waived his preliminary hearing. He is cooperating with this investigation, candidly, because we had him red-handed. His bail has been set at $15,000, 10%. He's currently on GPS monitoring. His employees who have been charged include Eric Simpson, who has bail of $75,000, 10%. He's in custody on other similar charges, but in Delaware County. Michael Bruce, Kevin Schwartz, Patrick Hopkins, Lisa Davalos, and a juvenile, the initials ME, have all also been charged. They were employees of TDI and Michael Williams. All the adults that I just named got bail of $10,000, 10%. There's a next level below that who we refer to as the cutters. These are the people that do the damage to your automobiles. These are also the people that sold the stolen cats to TDI, and they are as follows. Anthony Davalos Sr., who is in custody, and he, of all the other ones that we've mentioned now, is uniquely also charged with an aggravated assault for attempting to evade the police and almost running over one of our local police detectives. Michael Evangelist, who is in custody, Gary Shirley, who received a bail of $50,000 unsecured, and Richard Page. Richard Page is still at large. We would ask the public for help, as we do on occasion, not to confront him, but rather if you see him, if you know of him, if you have information about him, to contact us at the number or the website that you'll see on our presentation. The corporation, as I mentioned, has been charged. This is very unique. There was some debate, there was some discussion, some legal research, which was done candidly by people a lot smarter than I, and we decided that we had grounds to actually charge the corporation itself. I refer to it as TDI towing, but you'll see on the criminal complaint that it goes by a number of names, and we wanted to be all-inclusive and encompassing to make sure that there were no loopholes that corporation could escape free. The corporation itself has also waived its preliminary hearing, and that was done by the principal of the corporation, Michael Williams. TDI has been purchasing stolen catalytic converters for years. From 2020 to 2023, approximately 2,000 catalytic converters were stolen from Bucks County alone. During that same time period, TDI, through all of the principals and agents that I just described to you, purchased on average 175 catalytic converters a week, which if you do the math, would total over 25,000 over the 3+ years that I just described. Catalytic converters, and you see one right here. learn more about catalytic converters than I ever thought I would know, are attached to the bottom of our vehicles, essentially to reduce pollution. They contain rare and precious metals that can be broken down and harvested from the catalytic converter itself. The market prices for these three main metals in the catalytic converters, and they are rhodium, platinum, and palladium, increased dramatically during the pandemic because of supply chain issues. What else? The recent price of an ounce of platinum was just over $1,000. An ounce of palladium was just over $1,400. And an ounce of rhodium was approximately $7,000. The average cost to a regular citizen to replace a stolen catalytic converter is about $2,000. This doesn't include the cost of not having access to your personal or work vehicle. Imagine you go out to start your car and you have your whole day planned ahead of you, or worse, you have an emergency, and then your car won't run correctly, or it will run, but it makes a god-awful noise, and that can ruin your day or worse. And this is what at least 2,000 Bucks Countyans have experienced during the course of this theft onslaught. As I said, there were about 2,000 stolen just in Bucks County alone. That doesn't count Montgomery County, it doesn't count Philadelphia, our state police, who cover a much larger jurisdiction and have all been here to cooperate and help us in this investigation. TDI paid on average $300 per converter, totaling $8.2 million during this investigation. Our goal? To put them out of business forever. A corporate death sentence. This investigation, for which I am very proud to be a part, took about a year. As you all know, criminals don't care about borders. But when we all work together, we're not restricted by borders either. At least 27 law enforcement agencies assisted in this investigation, and you can see them listed on the screen to my left. Montgomery County, my brother-in-arms, Kevin Steele, DA Kevin Steele, is with me here today, provided invaluable assistance, sharing resources, causing a force multiplier effect. And you've heard me speak about this often in other endeavors. That includes the use of manpower, technology, jurisdiction, and in fact, in this instance, data crunching resources. We continue to assist them in Montgomery County because that's how we work together in their own active CatCon investigation. At this time, I'd like to introduce another of our law enforcement partners who has been integral in its assistance, and that's the Pennsylvania State Police. And I'd like to introduce Pennsylvania State Police Captain James Katita, who would like to say a few words at this time, and then I'll step back to the podium. Captain, welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'd just like to announce that these arrests are a result of an outstanding investigative initiative by the Bucks County District Attorney's Office detectives under the leadership of District Attorney Weintraub. Today's announcement reflects the result of a successful law enforcement partnership. I commend our Pennsylvania State Police auto theft members. Some are here today. The Pennsylvania State Police Criminal Intelligence Center and analysts, and the Troop K Philadelphia and Bureau of Gaming Enforcement members who did not hesitate to assist when requested. The Pennsylvania State Police and our partners here today will continue to investigate, identify, and arrest individuals and businesses who are involved in the theft and subsequent dealings of catalytic converters, and we will work with all law enforcement partners to mitigate this statewide problem. Some of these thefts have led to violence, specifically in southern Berks County in the past year, and it's just not the theft of a catalytic converter. Individuals are desperate, and we're here to halt this epidemic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Captain. As I'm looking around, I'm overwhelmed by the amount not only of the cooperation, but of the support that I see. I see Philadelphia PD represented here, Warminster PD, the FBI, just to name a few off the top of my head. I think that this is an incredible demonstration of what we can accomplish when we all work together, and it does take an incredible amount of effort. I have to give some more credit. This case will be prosecuted by Deputy DAs Ed Furman, who is here with me, and Joven Jose, who's also present here with me. And I have to give special thanks to a very unique cadre of people, and that is our Bucks County Investigating Grand Jury. I have said this on many occasions, but I can never say it enough. These are regular people, citizens of Bucks County, that donate their time over the course of years to help us investigate and solve crimes. And it is fair and accurate of me to say that without their assistance, we wouldn't be standing here today to report on this tremendous success. So they have my debt of gratitude. This is also a call to action. I know that when somebody gets their catalytic converter stolen, the first thing they think about is how it's going to affect their day. The second thing they think about is calling their insurance company and trying to get the rental car or getting it fixed as quickly as possible. There are some people, frankly, that might not occur to them to call the police because they think, well, what's the point? Well, I'm here to show you there is a point. And you can see some of the examples that we've demonstrated here, how brazen these people are. They can steal a catalytic converter in a matter of minutes, if not under a minute. Here's an example where there was a stolen car. Well, if you could just back that up, Manny, 1 second. A stolen car that was taken right to TDI, then they take the catalytic converter and sell that. I have no idea what happened to the car, but I'm sure my investigators do. And if you could forward it, Manny. I don't know if this has been running, but this is an example of a catalytic converter that was stolen so recently that it was still too hot to handle. And if you watch closely, you'll see that there's steam coming off of the catalytic converter as it's being cooled off in a puddle right underneath the car that he drove up in. So you talk about hot stolen goods. This is literally and figuratively the hottest. So my call to action is, in order for us to be able to actualize this information, we need you to make these police reports. Of course, the insurance fraud, the auto theft task force, we care about making these cases, but we can't do it without the public's help. So please, please call the police, even if it's to report an old one, because that data can be utilized. And in fact, in this case, law enforcement analysts were responsible for reviewing thousands of hours of video for identifying license plates and subjects and comparing the data derived from other databases to make these connections, to establish this web from which these defendants could not escape. And I'll end by saying this. By using every resource at our law enforcement disposal, we've stopped the TDI catalytic converter corrupt organizations dead in its tracks. It's actually literally padlocked as we speak. No one can go in, no one can come out. Not only that, we've also created a template for other multi-jurisdictional law enforcement efforts in dismantling these catalytic converter theft rings. And so our twofold goals have been met. And we know that we will be successful in holding not only the organization, but these individuals criminally accountable. I'll take some questions now if you have any.
How much of those three elements are in a catalytic converter?
There's not a ton, not a ton. And as you can judge by what they buy and what they sell, I think a Prius actually has the most. But if they're buying them for $300, there's about an 8% profit markup. So it's very small amounts, but the damage that they do when they cut these really wreaks havoc on our lives.
So it's less than an ounce per.
Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's less than an ounce.
You mentioned that Williams was reselling at another location. Are you able to say what that location is, or are they under investigation?
Well, I'm not prepared to answer that, but I can say it's fair to say that there are multiple investigations that are ongoing at the local, state, and federal level.
And what kind of enforcement can be done for corporations that are buying, they may not be employing people that are doing this, but they're getting the resale?
It's, of course we want to hold individuals accountable, but we decided that it was going to be very important for us to go the extra mile in this case to hold a corporation accountable so that we can prove that nobody can hide behind a corporate veil and get away with this. And if that means we literally have to put a padlock on a location and seize their assets to make sure that they can't operate in any shape or form again, that's going to be the recipe for success. Yes?
Is there going to be a way for victims to recoup damages from TDI?
Yes, there would be. Now, we're going to have to establish a nexus, and sometimes that's difficult. Catalytic converters don't, at least to this point, don't have any unique markings. We here actually have run a couple of VIN etchings on catalytic converters, but it can be a fairly tedious process. But we would welcome any victims, anybody that's been victimized as a result of TDI's criminality, to contact us, and we intend to get them restitution if possible.
How will victims know?
Can you give us an idea of how the Kingpin Williams advertised or directed these actors to do what they did to ramp up to be this type of operation for as long as it was?
So the complaint is very lengthy, but if you read it, what you'll see is that this was a lot of word of mouth. The organization is, sadly, the people that are stealing the catalytic converters are often thieves that need to fuel some issue that they have. And so the word at the street level was, if you go to this location, they will buy your catalytic converters, no questions asked. They will buy them after hours at night, and they will buy them in bulk, and they don't care if they're cut off or not cut off. And that really was one of the hurdles that we had to overcome, because obviously the defense would have been, or may still be, I didn't know these were stolen, but that's where the hours and hours of videotape and investigation and speaking with people allowed us to work up the pyramid.
I apologize.
Go ahead,
the
sure.
video that you just showed, is that in front of TDI? Where was that video showing that the catalytic converter was still hot?
Yes.
That taken?
Yep. That's either in front or on the grounds, and the other one, the still picture, was right in front of TDI, pretty brazen.
And how do people get in touch with? How do victims get in touch with you to work on getting restitution?
Well, I'll leave that to Deputy DAs Furman and Jost, but any victims that we get information from, they can use our tip line, bucksda.org, or 215-348-6344 to contact us. And if we can establish that their catalytic converter was stolen in this instance and sold to TDI, we'll put them on the list to get restitution.
Is there any way victims are going to be able to know those, since a lot of these catalytic converters are untraceable?
It's going to be tough, but there are ways that we can do so circumstantially. In other words, if somebody had their catalytic converter stolen within the last year and they made a timely report, maybe we can link it up with some of the thousands of hours of video surveillance that we've conducted. So I don't want to say it's impossible, and we're going to try every way possible to make them whole.
And what initially led you to Williams?
Just working up the chain. You catch one guy, or you try to catch another guy, and you start to see where they're taking them. We actually, I'm probably not supposed to say this. We actually used investigative tools of the trade to, here, I'll give you an analogy. You know how you can make an isotope radioactive? You can trace it all throughout the body and the blood? Well, you can do the same with catalytic converters. As long as you know which ones they are, if one gets stolen, you can track it back to where it's going to be sold. I could say it like that, still be a little mysterious.
Where do these precious metals go? I mean, where's the market for that?
Well, that's a great question. Where do they go?
The smelting refinery is overseas to be reprocessed into new devices.
Oh. They're smelted down and then they're reused for other different devices. They could certainly be used in catalytic converters, but there are other uses for these precious metals. They're very rare and hard to get out of the ground. So if you just hack off a catalytic converter, you got an instant ready pot of these precious metals.
How many times have you charged aspect for investigation into the organizations that were buying from organizations like TDI Towing, or are they overseas, or would that involve other federal law enforcement?
So as you know, my sandbox ends in Bucks County, but we were able to delve into Philadelphia. We have representation here from Philadelphia. We were able to utilize resources from state, local, and federal resources. The best that I can tell you is that there are still other avenues to pursue, but that's beyond my ability to pursue them as law enforcement. I'm hopeful that will continue. I think this is just, we're striking the first local blow here, but I expect more to come.
What kind of sentences do these folks face?
That's hard to say. It will depend on their prior records. A lot of the charges that they've been charged with are felonies, even felonies of the first degree. But as you can see, some of them have been released on bail. It will also depend on their level of cooperation and ownership into their criminal conduct. But certainly, it's reasonable to assume that they can get anywhere from probation to state prison. We just don't know yet.
How often have you charged a corporation with your tenant? Is this the first time?
I had to have people do the research. I've never done it. I think I learned that it was possible in law school, but this is the first time that we've ever done it. Anybody else? All right, great. Thank you all. We'll leave the slides up. I know Manny will send them out along with the complaints and probable causes. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.